What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is for all the beginners out there who are looking to get started. The world is full of possibility for anyone willing to put in the time and effort, but having a little cash to start makes everything a lot easier. Today I'm going to talk about how to invest your first $1,000. Now, $1,000 may not seem like a lot. The best thing about going out there and putting your money to work is the experience and lessons that come with those efforts. If your first venture is a success, you'll have more money to invest in the future. The more you can repeat that cycle of success, the faster your money will grow. If your first venture turns out to be a failure, you'll pick up some valuable lessons on what to avoid in the future. When I began trading stocks for the first time, I started with penny stocks. I had a few $1,000s saved up from my high school job, and trading cheap penny stocks seemed like the way to go. Penny stocks are very volatile, meaning they move up and down in value very quickly. I figured that trading those stocks was the best way to get rich in a hurry. I began reading posts on various penny stock message boards and used that information to help me decide which stocks to buy. After I started buying stocks, I watched them move up and down, and it soon occurred to me that I had no idea why. When my stocks would go up, I got really excited and dreamed of how much money I would make if they kept on going in that direction. If they went down, I would panic and sell them. This pattern of inaction when my stocks went up and immediate action when my stocks went down meant that after a few months of trading, I had lost nearly all the money that I had initially put in. This experience taught me that I had to learn about the companies that I invested in. I also learned the value of holding stocks for the long term and the need to understand the psychology and motivation of the investors that hold the same stocks that I do. So how should you invest your first $1,000? One thing to consider is the amount of involvement you want to have after making your investment. Some investments are relatively passive and won't require much of your attention after they're made. Others are more active and will require you to be more involved in order to become successful. Let's start with the most passive choice and work our way up to more active ones. One of the most passive forms of investment is an index fund. An index fund invests in stocks that meet a certain type of criteria, and there are many criteria out there for investors to choose from. The most common form of index fund is an S&P 500 fund. The S&P 500 is a group of 500 large U.S. companies. An investment in this type of fund is an investment in the U.S. economy as a whole, since the 500 companies reside in all different sectors and industries. Being invested in 500 companies has the added benefit of giving you diversification. In the event that a couple of those companies fail or perform poorly, you'll be invested in other companies that will help cover those losses. Another form of index fund is called a sector fund. Sector funds invest in various parts of the U.S. economy, like energy, healthcare, and technology. I love sector funds because they allow you to invest in what you love or know best. Personally, I've always been really passionate about technology, so being able to invest in a basket of tech stocks is something that really resonates with me. Maybe you're a nurse and want to invest in a healthcare fund, or maybe you're a flight attendant and want to invest in an airline fund. One of the best ways to motivate yourself to keep working towards your financial goals is to invest in the types of companies that are most important to you. Successful investors are always learning, and it's much easier to be motivated to learn when you have a personal connection to what you're learning about. Another more active way to invest your first $1,000 is to pick a few stocks to invest in. Stock picking is a more active way of investing, since you need to learn about the specific companies you're investing in. Luckily, the internet has made it easy for you to find information on any company. I'd recommend listening to quarterly earnings calls to learn about how the company is doing financially and to hear how managers respond to questions asked by financial analysts that cover the company. Those questions can help you learn about how much the company plans to grow in the future, which business lines receive the most attention and resources in the company, and possibly give insight into possible threats to the company from its competitors. I'm also a big fan of the website called The Motley Fool, which has tons of free articles that focus on specific companies. Investing in individual stocks is easier than ever. Most brokerage firms allow you to buy and sell stocks for free now, and some even offer fractional shares. Fractional shares allow you to buy part of a share, which is useful for companies like Amazon and Google, whose shares trade for more than $1,000 each. I've done some other videos that dive deeper into some of the things you should look for when buying individual stocks, So consider subscribing to my channel and checking those out if that interests you. One alternative to buying stocks outright is to sell put options. By selling a put option, you are giving someone the option to sell their stock to you at a specified price before a specified date. This allows you to generate some income while gaining the possibility of purchasing a stock you like at a discounted price. Let's say that you like Apple stock and it's trading for $120 per share. Instead of spending $1,000 and buying shares of Apple, sell a put option, which gives someone the option to sell their Apple shares to you a year from now at $100 a share. You'll make some money for selling the option. If Apple stock drops below $100, you'll be able to buy the shares cheaper than what they're worth today. Selling put options does carry some risk. If Apple drops below $100 a year from now, you'll still be obligated to pay the full $100 a share to buy it from the other person. It's important that you really like a stock and intend to be a long-term investor in any company that you sell put options on. Another great option to invest your first $1,000 is to start a business. It's easier than ever to sell things online. Your $1,000 can go towards either purchasing items to resell on eBay or Amazon, or to buy raw materials to design and build something that can be sold on Etsy. When I was in high school, I spent my first $1,000 on baseball cards. Those cards featured young players that hadn't made the major leagues yet, but had a lot of potential. When those players eventually broke out and became stars, I was able to resell the cards for a profit. There are two factors to consider when selling online: how long it will take to resell your items, and what kind of price buyers would be willing to pay. If you're able to resell items quickly, that will give you more cash flow to repeat the process. The more times you can repeat the process in a year, the higher your income will be that year. You also need to make sure that whatever items you purchase can be resold at a higher price later. One way to do this is to buy items from places where you have little competition, like garage sales, Goodwill stores, or outlet shops. By listing those items on eBay or Amazon, anyone across the world can buy them, and having access to more buyers may allow you to charge higher prices. Just be mindful of the shipping costs and fees that those platforms charge to sell on their websites. One thing I want to emphasize with whatever path you decide is the importance of education. Before investing your first $1,000, try and read as much about you can about the industry or business that you're investing in. The internet has tons of content and educational resources, most of the time at little or no cost. I've spent 3 to 4 hours a day, every day, over the past 15 years, learning about different companies, what makes a successful business, and how investor psychology affects stock prices. A lot of my time has been spent on CNBC, Bloomberg, and the Motley Fool websites. As you learn more, the knowledge you gain will snowball. You'll begin to make connections between different parts of business and investing to see a bigger picture. This knowledge will improve your odds of making small, successful investments and give you the confidence to make even bigger ones in the future. One last benefit of investing your first $1,000 is the freedom to make mistakes on a small scale. Investing money always carries risk, and making mistakes will result in losing money. Making those mistakes when you only have $1,000 at risk is much easier to recover from than making mistakes when you have 10, 100, 1,000, or even $1 million at risk. Small losses today will minimize the chances of big losses tomorrow. Your first investment should be made with the goal of gaining experience, not making the most money that you can. Every great investment in history began as an experiment, with a lot of mistakes along the way. Eventually, improvements that were made to correct those mistakes ultimately turned that experiment into something special. If you're even thinking about investing your first $1,000, you've taken an important first step towards financial success and independence. I hope you found this video helpful. I've come a long way from that precocious investor that lost thousands of dollars on penny stocks. With the help of some knowledge, experience, and small successes, I know that you will too. Investing has changed my life and given me a lot of opportunities that I never dreamed of having when I was growing up. It's one of the most rewarding things you can do for yourself today and tomorrow, and your future self will thank you for starting on this journey. If you have any stories of starting a business or making your first investment, drop a comment below, as I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.